This video help, I'm going to cover and I'm going to go up to the top here. From the main calendar, I'm going to be covering the customer screen and how to use it. Let's go there. This is the customer screen with the customer information. I'm going to go from top left to the bottom. Customer information has the same pop-up navigation that you have on the main calendar screen, where you can see all the screens and jump around from one location to the other. And you can use the main calendar link at the top to go back to the calendar. This screen also has a little interesting thing that was set up, and this is basically for people that are doing pricing online or looking for websites that are specific to their clients' websites and so forth. Let me go ahead and show you this. It has the metaphor of a jukebox like you used to have back in the 60s. And there is a website setup where you can set up the website portal and go to the portal and add the name, site name, and the URL. And then you can say show the record. It'll take you to that particular screen and that particular item, or within the actual customer record. Let's go back there. You can go ahead and bring up the jukebox and just click the play button at the edge. So for example, if I wanted to go to my support site, I could click here and it would open up that in a browser tab. If I were going to ask.com or Google Maps or Google Directions or Google Now or Google Search, any of those, you just click on the button at the end of the row and it would take you to that. As you add new ones in the portal, they will show up here, and then you can scroll down through these, and they're in alphabetical order, numerical and alphabetic, so you can find them quite easily. And that way you can go ahead and click on them to go to where you want to go. This has some nice benefits in that it stores a lot of the website information either for your own company or any of the website or website information for clients that you have, so you can go and do whatever jobs you need to for that. To close this area, just click anywhere off of the screen and it's hidden. This is the first screen where I'm showing you where we have what we call find and perform find and show all. I'll explain what the buttons do, and then you'll know when you come to a screen and this is true for all the screens in the application, that if you want to find a specific client or information based on any of the fields at the top of the screen that are not portal records, which are these down here, you can click in any field when you do a find and type in any part of the information. Like if I could even type part of the first name or the whole name or whatever, it would take me to that location. I can also go into the client company and put any portion of the name of the company or anything that's related to any of the fields that you see here, and that information would be searched on and it would bring up those records. When it brings up the records for the iPad, you'll see down at the bottom it'll have a arrow to arrow, and it'll show you the records in selection, which is the number of records that are actually collected in your search. And then you can use the forward and back arrows to go backward and forward to see those. In this screen, when you bring them up, you can use the next and previous buttons to cycle through all the records that were picked up on that particular search. Now, in a case where you use a person's name, if there's only one person in the find, that is the only person that will be shown. So if you clicked on next record and it only went to the screen you're in, that means there's no more records. You can also go to the list view by clicking here and see in the search what actual names were listed or whatever records were listed. And you can also go to the records in the list view. Let's go ahead and do that. In the list view, you can go over here, and if you see that there are a certain number of records in the list view, you can say show that record. And when you say show that record, it goes to that record. So you're looking at that record when you go to it. Now, on this screen, there are a set of tabs at the top. We're currently on the customer data tab. There's also a customer location tab. And of course, the customer data tab has all the information that is about the customer. You put all the lead information and stuff, their sales phone, their fax phone, their customer type, their company type, their website, their email for this particular, and this is the primary contact, the top level person that you would want to contact in that company. There's also a customer related contacts, which I'll come over here. And in this, you can add all the customer related contacts: contact name, the position in the company, the department they're in, the department telephone number, their contact phone, and their email. You can click on the portal record here to go to the individual record for this person. And let's go ahead and do that. You have a large area here where you can put a narrative in there that explains anything that you want to about the particular person that is on the contact list. And you have their contact information basically on this line right here. To go back to the individual record for this, you could click either here or go back to the customer record that you were in because it's the last record that was picked. And also you could do a find also here and here because this is the individual portal record. You can do a search on these fields or even these fields up here, and or also even the text field to find a word or phrase that is something that you're looking for, and then it would show the number of records that were brought in from that search. You can also go back to the calendar from here. You can watch the video on this area here. In this particular case, let's go back into customers. Now, when you're in the customer record, you can go to the location screen. It's based on the address that you enter in this space right here. It is not for the individual contacts that are over in the related contacts. So you would go ahead and click here, and what the application will do using that particular address, it'll bring up the map. In this particular case, what I've done, and I'm going to demonstrate this, is if you don't get a map and you're on the server, on the cloud, you can click MapQuest or Google. In this particular case, if I click Google, it's going to bring up Google on the browser, and I can go ahead and go into the browser and get the map based on any directions that I want to as far as going to somebody. And the same thing for MapQuest. It does require an internet connection to use this. So you would either have internet by a cell phone or be on a Wi-Fi connection. Additional data is the next tab. In this particular case, you've got a picture. You can either put the photo of the person that is the contact or maybe an image of the actual website. And in some cases, a lot of the websites now have pictures of employees or staff, so you can actually copy that. In this particular case, if you want to add something to the screen, if you tap on it on the iPad, it'll ask you to pick something from your photo library. And on the desktop, if you click it, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to insert a picture from your hard drive somewhere on the computer. Or you can actually insert QuickTime movies. And when it comes to files, usually it's going to be on the desktop where you're of the computer that you're working on. You can insert a file, and when you double click on it, it'll open that file on the desktop. The information is repeated here that was on the customer link. Down here, these are called UDF field or user-defined fields, and this is a portal, so you can put as many of these as in here as you want. If there's something specific about the individual person that you're looking at up here or the company itself, you can put a field title in here, and then you can put a narrative in this field, and this scrolls, so you can put a lot of data in there if you need to. These are typically things that are not already on the application that are unique to a particular situation for this client or the primary contact where you want to document information about that particular person. The next one is a thing called the sales track, and the sales track is a thing where you put in each individual sales lead from status, order contact, the order status itself, the sales rep that's actually monitoring and managing that as a drop down, and also a narrative or notes about this. So this is really where you're looking at that business lead that's coming up, where it came from, what date it came up, who did it, and the information about it. And you can go to the sales track portal from here, and what the sales track portal is going to do, it's going to let you track that on the portal itself on an individual record. So you can go do a search on any records to find things that are specific to this particular kind of a sale, where it might be boilerplate that you're using for another client. And up here is the customer sales report. The customer sales report is a collection of all clients, all records, and you can use the find to separate the information into either a company, a primary contact, or some other related field within that report. We'll cover this separately. There's the meeting track, and the meeting track is the one we have up in the main screen where you saw the meeting portal, and it was on the appointment levels of the screen. Editing anything in this area or adding them in this area will be displayed for the client up in the activities area or the meetings portal on the calendar screen. And you can see the actual client name and the company name on this area. Then there's the action track, which is also on the main screen. And that is the same situation where you create records here for action items, or you create them in the actual calendar for whatever event or appointment that you're working with. Now, on this screen, that makes it slightly different is that when you click on these particular things, they will open up into a different screen, but you have to have something or some kind of data in here. The yellow field is actually a numeric number that's assigned to this. If I put in the date and it highlights it and brings up the data, now I can actually access something in that record. And this is the record for that particular information. And you have larger information areas to go ahead and work with the data in this screen so you can see a little bit more. Now going back to the merchant or customer screen, I'm back in here and you can see that the same thing pertains to the information for a meeting. And on a meeting, basically, if you want to print out a large version of this, you would click here, and it gives you an 8.5 by 11 printable area. And you can send this, if you're on the iPad, you can send it as a PDF, email it in an email, or print it from this screen on the desktop and send it as a paper document. Let's go back to the customer area. And the last one of those three that you saw on the main screen in the calendar for the appointment was the activity portal. The reason the activity portal is on this screen is that this is probably the most useful area, or the activities that are going on, to be able to track those and slide through here and see those activities that are current to this particular client for this particular screen. Meetings are not probably as frequent, and action items are not as frequent. So the activity is, like, for example, we have a phone call here, shows completed, and that all the narrative that was happening. And remember, just like before, you can click on an icon here, and now you can see all that data on an 8.5 by 11 page. Once again, it can be printed on a desktop or on an iPad or on the cloud. You can print it on the cloud, or on the iPad, you can send this as in an email or as a PDF. Okay, let's go back again. Okay, we've covered pretty much everything on the screen with the exception of these three tags over here. Now I'm going to explain what these are. But before I do that, I want to indicate to you that you can use this as a quick slider to go to a different record. You can see when you click on it, the name of the business, it will take you to that business name. Now this, as you add new businesses on this line, this is going to add it over here on this side. The way you would do that is you would create a new record. And the way you create a new record is you go into the new record button and add a new record. Now, the new records, in this particular case, I'm going to go over to the customer notes, and I'm going to show you here on the notes how to add a note. The customer note here is the same one that shows up on the main screen for the customer notes. And you can have this as a running set of notes for this particular client. You can also have sales team data, which I showed you on the main screen on the other side. And in this case, now this becomes a drop down, and you can edit the amount of different rep groups or sales reps. You can also go in and add sales reps. And also you can edit the price level, how it is, retail, wholesale, or whatever you might use. And this is where you would add in the ship to addresses and the sales notes. And then, of course, the related contacts we covered earlier. Each client has his own ID, customer ID, and this is over here, and this cannot be edited, so you don't change it. So numerically, as you add a new client, it's going to add the next sequential number for that client. And that was the number you saw that was on the appointment record in yellow, where you did the drop down to pick the client by the either company name or the primary contact. Now, also on this screen, if you want to, you have the email addresses and also customer type, which also has a pop-up that you can go to edit the customer types for this drop-down field here. So you can add whatever you want to put in there. As I stated before earlier, these are here because on drop-down lists, You cannot edit them on the iPad as far as the actual data, but just as an oh by the way, and I have a video on this on the support site, you can on the iPad tap back in even when there's a scroller, and you can ad lib and add whatever you want into that screen as far as filling in that field by using the keyboard. And that's not something that's very well documented on the iPad. Okay, if you have any questions, as usual, you can contact the support site, go to the FAQs area, and either ask a question or run the videos or see the FAQs, questions and answers on the support site. Thank you.